What's good YouTube, it's George from More Life Studios, and today I'm going to be breaking down on how I print halftones in a two-part series. The first part being how I manually expose and print halftones on a manual press, and the second part of this video is going to be how I design halftones on Photoshop and showing you the best options and best settings to get the best results when printing halftones. But first we need to learn what halftones are and how halftones make up an image. So let's dive into it. Halftones are tiny dots that vary in size and spacing to create the illusion of gradients and shadows and smooth blends using only one colour of ink. Instead of printing solid shapes, we break the artwork down into thousands of these dots. Up close you see the dots, but from a normal viewing distance, your eyes blend them together into a detailed image. A lot of your favourite streetwear brands use halftones in their t-shirts to get that realistic look and that vintage look. So before we coat any screens, we need to make sure we're using the right mesh. So when picking a screen, you want to be looking for a 230 mesh and upwards, or you're not going to get the detail that you desire in your designs when you expose it into the screen. So all my high mesh screens are coated with emulsion right now, but what you should be looking out for is the yellow screen. The yellow normally means high mesh, so just make sure you're using 230 and above. And there's one thing I forgot to mention in the video. I am using a 45 LPI halftone, but I can explain more what that is in part 2. So let's head into the dark room and coat the screens. So this is the design we're going to be printing today. As you can see, I've already printed the transparency. I'm going to give you a close-up, and in the next episode I'm going to show you how to design and print the transparencies. I'm going to pop a mock-up on screen now of how I want the design to look before we print, so keep that in mind and let me know in the comments after you've watched a video how close I got. So to print good halftone designs, it all comes down to exposure times. I struggled a lot when I used to be using like a DIY exposure unit. I could never get it, and it wasn't until I bought a real exposure unit that I could dial in my exposure times and print good halftones. So one of the first steps you need to do is grab yourself an exposure calculator. You can get one of these for like $20 to $50, and this is necessary to dial your exposure time in. So you want to be aiming for a number 7 on the exposure calculator. It will change the game for exposing detailed designs for you and getting it right nearly every time. So let's set our exposure unit up. So we're going to be using a 280 mesh just so we can get the highest possible detail in the image. And we're going to be exposing for 10 seconds on the exposure unit. So let's put our screen in. And this is the most important bit. Make sure you wet the screen before trying to blast the design out. So just wet it front and back. So now let's get the screen onto the press. But just one tip before we start, make sure you stir your ink super well. That's something that I did when I first started, especially white ink. You need to stir like crazy and you're going to get a better print, especially with halftones because the dots are so small. You need very fine ink, so make sure the ink's not cold and you're just stirring it thoroughly before you print. So now we've got the screen on press and it's following our center line, so we're going to have a straight print, and I've taped up all the registration marks and center lines. Now we're good to print, and then I'm going to put some ink on the screen and then we can get it printing. So we're going to be printing on a Shakerware tee. This is one of my favourite blanks. It's a streetwear tee, but I've only got medium size and it's a bit too big for me. So the plan is, because the design is already distressed and looks old, we're going to crop the tee and then I'm going to distress the collar and distress the t-shirt to give it like a vintage look. So yeah, let's get to it. So we're going to flood the screen. Make sure the design is fully coated in ink. And we're not going to want to do too many passes, just 2 or 3 passes. If you do too many passes, it's going to bleed and the halftone's going to expand and it's not going to look good. And then we're going to be taking a Dremel and just distressing around the edges just to give it an extra streetwear look. This is how the t-shirt turned out, just to give you a close-up. I honestly kinda like it. I think it came out fire. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. So I hope you got something out of the video today. I'm going to be doing a part 2 of how I design the halftone graphics for streetwear and realistic images in Photoshop on the next episode. The first part's going to be all like the manual printing and me just explaining how to do the physical part, and then part 2 will be up soon of how to design the images in Photoshop and get high quality halftone patterns in your images. I guess I took inspiration from like Atlanta, like ATL. I'm super into like all their rap music and their fashion, so that's why I distressed it and cropped it, as I see it on Instagram all the time. I feel like it's trending more on Instagram. But yeah, if you've got any questions about how I print halftones, or you can give me some tips, drop it down below in the comments below, and make sure you like and subscribe the video, as I'm going to be uploading more content in the future. Also, if you want to support me or my brand and the print shop I'm trying to build, I'm going to be uploading this t-shirt to my website, and I'll do made to order on the t-shirt if you want to support the channel and support me. So yeah, I'll drop a link in the description if you want to go ahead and purchase it. It's George from More Life Studios. I'll catch you in the next one.